Once again, I have gotten to King of Games with a Crystron list. This time, I'm mixing Crystrons with Raging Pendulum because the skill is still pretty good and it doesn't lock you into any specific archetype. And recently we got a third copy of Skullcrobat Joker from the ranked duel tickets, so this deck is better than ever. This deck is basically like Orcust Raging Pendulum back when that was a thing, but worse because Crystron's is not as good as Orcust, but that's fine. What Crystron's does give us that Orcust don't is we have access to a level 3 tuner, which is Ryan, which can help us push for a game when we go second, or make a powered Insectron when we go first, which is basically like a assembled Nightingale if you squint hard enough. We also have access to our boss monster, Quarian Gandrax, if we are able to make ourselves 2 Ryons plus any level 4 monster. And we can even make it under the machine lock when we use any of our Crystron non-tuners effects. And also, the Crystron stuff are just pretty good as discard fodder for stuff like Pendulum Call as well. And just like Orcust, it is a pretty good engine for the grind game because everything activates from the graveyard. So you don't need to Pendulum summon that many monsters after your setup turn and still be able to put out pressure and potentially push for game. Right, let's have a look at some of my replays that I have saved. These are the replays that I got from Legend Rank. And yeah, our opponent is playing Shadows. Let's see how well we do against him. As we can see, we do open combo, which is basically 2 scales that have a high and a low scale. Wisdom Eye Magician is very good because it can become a high or a low scale depending on what you need. And Earth Dragon is a low scale, so that will be combo. And also we have access to our Crystron engine, which is really good. We're going to do a bit of Shadow comboing. Shadow Hedgehog grabbing themselves a Schism. And one of the best things about our Pendulum Magicians is that they have a lot of potential going second to pop cards before you commit to any monsters on the field. And also, if you open with Pendulum Call, your scales are immune to any sort of back row removal as well. We're gonna set 2 scales. Our opponent will activate Rest Shuttle Incarnation to bring back their fusion. What this allows them to do is to send a Squamata and then send a dragon to pop one of our scales. But thankfully we drew another high scale. It's not a good high scale, but it is a high scale. So we can still be able to activate our skill. We're going to do that. Revealing 2 of our extra deck guys, and then adding to our hand our level 3 Time Breaker Magician, which we will be able to use the effect to remove the Winder from the field so we can actually special summon. We're gonna make a Decode Talker because that's like the only thing we could make. We're gonna banish the Fistfern and Smiger from the graveyard, and now it's time to Crystron combo. And by Crystron combo, I mean set a trap in passing. We're gonna attack over our opponent's guy and then just hope for the best. Our opponent is going to make another construct, and the thing about Shadows is that the deck is complicated, so as long as we stall for long enough, we will potentially get our opponent into a situation where they misplay because they run low on time. So we're just gonna summon some guys and prevent them from going for lethal. We're gonna use the grind game that Crystrons provide to just grab ourselves some more monsters. We're gonna pop the bad high scale to set a good high scale because we top decked it. And then we're gonna discard for our Dragon Pit to pop our opponent's back row. He's going to set back a dragon, hoping to get rid of our scales, but that shouldn't be a problem. We will use the noble dragon from the graveyard, summon itself back, and make a big Trishula, banish 2 of his fusions and a Schism, and then attack over his board. He can bounce back one of our monsters, that's fine. We still have a monster on our field. Our opponent has 1 card in hand and nothing else. He will be scooping. Okay, let's have a look at another game. We're facing against Yami Yugi. Despite what the playmat and the sleeves might tell you, he's not playing Shernui, he's playing Battle Chronicle. We go first, and Other than the third copy of the Sculptor Joker that we got as a new support, don't forget that we also have a Harmonizing Magician, which is a really good piece of support that lets us make our extra deck monsters a lot easier. So we're gonna summon it alongside our Fistfern. We can link those three off to make a Decode Talker, and Fistfern managed to grab ourselves a Smiger, and normal summon the Smiger itself, pop itself, and then summon the round, and this is the typical turn 1 board that you will be making if you draw your Christian half of your deck. So what this gives us is a way to not die this turn, because we can always make Powered Inzection and use its effect to make us take no damage. And also we have a Decode Talker pointing to a Dragon Pit, so if our opponent tries to target any of our cards, we can just negate the effect. Like when our opponent activates the circle, we can tribute the Dragon Pit that it points to negate and destroy the circle, which will otherwise be really annoying because it banishes our scales. He's going to Battle Chronicle, grab a Secrets of Dark Magic, and then try to attack for lethal, but forget that we don't take any damage. So he's instead going to try to make a Dark Magicians and do nothing because my monster cannot be destroyed anyway. We're gonna Dragon Pit to pop the back row before we commit, and then Smigo grab ourselves a Trap, and then Earth Dragon grab ourselves the Harmonizing. Because Harmonizing only triggers when it is Pendulum summoned from their hand, we will be grabbing it so that we can Pendulum summon it from the hand, and then summon a Time Breaker just because it's a level 3. We're gonna make a Meteor Burst. Meteor Burst will summon back a Dragon Pit from our scale. We'll make a Ebon Illusion Magician, and then summon another Vanilla from our deck. And while Meteor Burst is on the field, it's like Sangenpai Transcendent Dragon. So our opponent can't activate any monster effects, even if they have like a Kite Rod or a Apprentice, they can't use it, so we'll just go for game. Okay, in our third game, we are going second, which is actually preferable with this deck. This deck, even without a crazy broken skill that has a bonus effect going second, it still is good going second just because of how the scales pop opponent stuff. Opponent's playing Predaplan, which is, you know, a meta deck. Let's see how good we face against meta decks. Well, one of the biggest advantages of playing a Pendulum Magician in today's meta is that both Predaplans and Ghost Tricks don't do very well against this deck, because Predaplans struggle to clear back row, which your scales are back row, so as long as you keep your scales, you can just keep pushing. And also, you can pop your Ghost Trick monsters back row. You can pop the Ghost Trick monsters, you can pop their back row, so they can't do any shenanigans with, you know, needle sealing and stuff, because you can just pop it before you commit. And also, if we go first, we can just pop whatever the skill sets from Ghost Trick. You can make a Volo to pop the monster that the Ghost Trick skill sets, and then that stops him from being able to do any sort of combo. He's going to MST pop our scale, that's fine, we drew the Harmonizing, and it is a good high scale, but that just means that we can't Pendulum summon it from our hand. That shouldn't be a big deal. We can just still Pendulum summon for 4 monsters, everything from our hand, plus the Odd Eyes. We can force out the Dragos Pelia by just using the effect of the Time Breaker. And then now we can link summon good old Decode Talker. And then that puts the Christian monsters in the graveyard so that we can actually use the graveyard effects. We're gonna use the Fistfern to grab a Smigo for us to discard for the Selfifnir, make ourselves a Ryan, attack, and then attack again, and the Ryan will make sure that we don't lose in the following turn. Our opponent will put a Predaplan counter, which is honestly not that big of a deal, I don't really care. And we will be making a copy of Inzection as soon as we could to make sure that we don't take any damage this turn. Our opponent will be searching the Kaiju and tributing over the Decode Talker momentarily. Before doing that, he's gonna put more counters with the level 2 Predaplan. He's going to try to Nightmare Phoenix, discarding the Kaiju to get maximum value, but he forgets that it actually can negate the Nightmare Phoenix. And even though he is going to be negated, we will still activate the trap just so that we have an extra monster in case he activates another targeting effect. But, you know, he won't do that. He'll just make the Kaiji and tribute over the link free. And then now he's just gonna make some fusion monsters. I don't really mind that too much because we will not lose this turn anyway. As long as he doesn't, you know, make too many problematic monsters, it should not be that big of a deal. And Chimera Flacia is a bit annoying, but he doesn't actually banish the Fistfern. He actually banishes the Synchro, which I probably think is wrong because now we have the Fistfern in the graveyard. He will try to negate the Scrap Recycler, which is amazing. That's what we want. We want to bait out the negate before we commit. So now we could actually grab back the Ryon and grab back the Timebreaker from the extra deck. And then Pendulum Summon for 1, 2, 3. And because he made our monster level 1, we have enough levels to make Trishula. And that Trishula resolves. He has no negates. He didn't see that coming because who would have thought that making my monster level 1 would have made me the right levels to actually make the Trishula. And then now everything is gone, we can attack, and then he stalls for game. Okay, 4th game, we're playing against Cyber Dragons, I believe. We're going first. And let's see if we draw any of our Christian stuff. And we do, that's amazing. We'll be normal summoning the Scrap Recycler. Just because we don't actually have combo, we only have 1 skill, and Odd Eyes is a brick, and I keep drawing it. I've drawn it like 5 times in a row, and I'm really salty. But at least we can still do some Christian comboing, even if we can't actually make any Pendulum monsters. We'll keep the Skullcrobat Joker in our hand, so that if we draw another scale next turn, we can search the scale that we are actually missing. I'm not feeling too bad about things just yet because we don't actually care about any of our Christian guys at the moment, because Insectron will protect our life points anyway, and the Christian stuff will activate their effects in the graveyard anyway. Our opponent will pop our back row, which is that it's probably good normally, but Impact doesn't really care being popped, so it doesn't really matter too much for us. Our opponent's going to make a Cyber Dragon Nova. Nova will bring back a Cyber Dragon, and then he's going to make Infinity, just like usual Cyber Dragon stuff. He's going to suck away our Synchro, which is fine. And then he's going to make another Rampage Dragon, and then try to make a whole bunch of fusion monsters, and doesn't really matter too much because we don't take any damage anyway. He's going to attack, and then because of Cyberload Fusion he can't attack anyway. That's completely fine. And we did draw another scale, so we can combo. We'll try to bait out the negate before it negates any of our scales, because if he negates our scales, we are cooked. But he doesn't negate anything. I think he's trying to hold it on for something like a Trishula, because to be fair, he doesn't really know what we have in our hand. So maybe that's a smart play to just hold on for the Trishula, and then he forgets that we can just, you know, make the Odd Eyes and then attack because it deals double damage, and then we can just, you know, deal lethal. And then the Infinity just kind of did nothing the entire game. Okay, now 5th and final replay. This is the rank up match that we will get to King of Games. Our opponent is playing Ghost Tricks, and as I said, this deck is pretty good against Ghost Tricks. We have plenty of ways to clear our opponent's back row before we even commit. And then we can also have a pretty good turn 1 board to deal with whatever they set up during their turn. We didn't actually draw any of our Christian stuff, which is annoying, but shouldn't be too big of a problem. We don't really need it, we can just go for plan B. So plan A, if we draw the Christian stuff, as you saw in one of our replays, is to make Deco Talker plus a Ryon. But even if we don't, it's still not too big of a problem. We can just still make Volo and then just pass. And it's probably going to be enough against Ghost Tricks, because if we pop whatever they set with the skill, which is, you know, the Jiangxi, we can pop it, prevent them from having a Ghost Trick on the field, and also preventing the search, because now they don't have any Ghost Tricks on the field. Our opponent has 1 set, which is perfect. We can just pop it. He will protect his set card, which is no problem. We will make a Meteor Burst, and one funny fact is that Meteor Burst completely cooks his deck, because while Meteorus is on the field, he can't activate any monster effects during the battle phase, so good luck to him with all of the hand traps that he has in his hand. None of them can be activated, just like, you know, Sand Gunpire, Transcendent Dragon. And yeah, we just take him to win, easy as that. Okay, so obviously I think that the deck will be better if you don't play the Christrons. I'm just playing Christrons because I you know, like Christrons, and Paladin Zextron is pretty funny, and also you can potentially make Quarion if you're lucky enough. But Raging Pendulums as a deck, you know, without any other engines, is a pretty good deck that I think people should be playing more, especially with 3 copies of Skullcrobat Joker, and then everything else is unlimited. Even I think the only thing that's limited is shooting Riser Dragon, which is a bit annoying, but shouldn't be that big of a deal because none of your engine cards are actually hit. Shooting Riser Dragon is somewhere up there. I think I missed it. There it is. Yeah, it is limited to 1, so you can't play it alongside the Raging Dragon. But I still think the deck is pretty good. Even if you don't make any of your Crystron stuff. Your turn 1 board will just be like a Volo plus a Dweller or Giant Hand, you know, any rank 4. And it's still going to be pretty good. The deck is definitely better going second than going first, like a lot of other decks in Duel Links, but I still think people should be playing this deck more. It's pretty good. It's good against Predaplant, it's good against Ghost Tricks, good against a lot of other decks as well that struggle to pop your skills, especially when you activate Pendulum Call, which makes your skills unable to be popped. So yeah, anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.